What's up, War Report family? It's your guy Ike Jones. Not loving the fact that I'm on this live in the middle of the day on Tuesday because the news isn't great for the Auburn family in regards to the transfer portal. Right now, it has been reported by On3 that both Yohan Traore and Chance Westry intend to enter the transfer portal. Woo, that one hit me like a ton of bricks, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. But it's your guy Ike Jones in here, going live in the middle of the day just to get it off our chest. Make sure you guys share the video real quick. Hashtag get your weight up. Hashtag he gone, I guess, on this one. Um, like the video if you're in here, man. Subscribe to the channel. We're gonna get in here and just start talking about this, man. I'm rolling solo for right now, but you guys make sure that you get some more people in here into the conversation. Say what's up if you're here. Say a War Eagle. Um, but yeah, so I did a podcast. So we do the Lobtown podcast over on the Auburn Express. You guys make sure you go and check that out with our guy Auburn Memes. And we talked a little bit about this. And in that podcast, I said that there was a possibility that Yohan Traore might hit the portal. I think Memes might have said that, and I wasn't as confident in that, um, but I was skeptical about where he would be able to kind of make that turn or that the light would come on, I guess, metaphorically for him in this next season. And so, we wanted to see more of that. I think what hurts the most about this, as we talk about both of these guys, is the showing they had in Israel. I get the Israeli teams that they played those first two times weren't necessarily the best, but even against the Israeli national team, they still seemed like they belonged on the court with them. But it didn't seem to translate specifically for Yohan Traore once we got back over to the United States and started getting into our regular play. And then Chance Westry with the injury just never really got fully back healthy. But I am less surprised about Yohan. Going to be interesting to see where he lands and how his future projects after what we saw in the limited duty this year. Maybe it was just he wasn't playing the right kind of system. I don't know what the deal was there. He wasn't initially committed to Auburn, right? So he was initially an LSU guy and came over after the whole situation with Will Wade went down with LSU. So um, that one wasn't as surprising. The Chance Westry one hurts. Not to say that Johan doesn't hurt. I think Chance Westry hurts more because I wasn't ready for it, right? Like when you've braced yourself for something, it doesn't have the same impact. I wasn't braced for Chance Westry to hit the portal. I thought next year was going to be a year where we were going to have Chance in the fold, able to get into year two in the system, understanding what's going on. They've defined a more concrete spot for him. That's something that BP said earlier in the season, is that maybe they put a little bit too much on him when he first came back. And I don't think that that was just about injury. I think it was about just absorbing different things that he needed to be able to do within what they wanted to do offensively and defensively. They put too much on him, having him play multiple spots along that front. And he just never really got his footing under him in regard to that. But I did think that after that kind of disastrous start, that he was going to round out into form this next season, because I do think that his feel for the game of basketball is immaculate. So I was looking forward to seeing what year two under BP with Chance Westry would be. But definitely want to get you all's thoughts and reactions. I see a lot of you all jumping in here. I appreciate you guys jumping in. Um, let's start here with the YouTube burner account says, "Boo, I am booing with you. Not really happy about the prospects of that. This is not a live that I wanted to have to come and do." Leanne jumps in and says, "What up? Two more spots to grab folks from the portal." Absolutely. But I didn't want them two spots to be available. I didn't want it. I want, listen, we were already thin in the front line, man. If Jay Will doesn't come back, let's talk about where Chance Westry and Yohan Traore projects for this team. We're talking about 3, 4, 5 spots, right? Like Chance Westry is a 2/3. He can play the point guard, a big point guard, but he's a 2 guard/3 guard, right? So your front court is already going to be down um, because we didn't have a lot of depth there. If Jay Will doesn't come back and Johan is not back, you really only have Janai Broom and Dylan Cardwell, who had been flirting with the NBA before this season, um, coming back into that room. I don't think you're going to have Stretch back there, right? So you don't have anybody really but Janai Broom left in your front court. Alan Flanagan's the other guy that could potentially be there, and there's rumors that he is going back and trying to figure out whether or not the NBA or some other professional league is going to be something for him to do in the future, right? So you don't really have a front court right now. You got Janai Broom plus a bunch of maybes out there. So Yohan Traore not coming back is definitely devastating to your prospects for next year, and you're really going to be starting fresh. Like this is going to be a brand new basketball team next season, right? So wasn't expecting that. Scandalous misconduct says making room for new portal players to come. Heard the dude from Kansas was in Auburn last weekend. I don't. So yes, he's speaking of Dick from Kansas. Pause. But I don't know that he's in the portal, right? So he was in Auburn, but is he in the transfer portal? If he's not, then that visit is just him being there with some friends, right? So I don't know where that's going to be going in the future. But yes, definitely more room in the portal, but I like starting brand new in the portal is not necessarily the best thing in the world. This is going to be a tough season for them to figure out how to gel quickly. This would be the year that I'd want them to take the trip to Israel with so many new faces that are inevitably going to be on this team, right? Like, so if we talk about the construction of this team and people who are definitely coming back, the only person that you really have on there is Chris Moore, right? And Chennai Broom, because there's been rumors. I think I saw somebody, yep, right here's Hoke said Wendell and KD could leave, right? So if you lose Wendell Green, KD Johnson, Johan Traore, Chance Westry, Jalen Williams, Alan Flanagan, um, all from people who played significant minutes for you last year. Potentially, you're going to have what's my Leor Berman, right? He's a senior, right? Like that's everybody who played minutes last year. So you're talking about a brand new team. And I get everybody wasn't happy with how we ended the season, but I'd rather go with more continuity than this. You have Janai Broom, Chris Moore, and Trey Donaldson, really, of people who played any significant minutes for you down the stretch. That's it. You can't field a team with three guys. So there's a lot of work that's got to be done here. So it's not time to hit the panic button. That's not what I'm saying when I say that there's a lot of work that's ahead. And I definitely trust this staff to be able to field some good stuff. We do have Aiden Holloway coming in, but again, being able to play together, having a bunch of talent on the floor doesn't mean that they mesh well together and they've learned how to play together, right? So there's a lot of work that's got to happen to get a bunch of new faces figuring out how to play the way BP wants them to play, and then them to figure out as a staff how to adequately use those people and what your rotations are going to be, all that kind of stuff. A lot of work left to be done. Jonathan Boyson says, damn, I don't understand Westry at all. Traore isn't hard to believe. Westry is definitely a hard one to put your wrap your mind around. Pocket Watch says, where are they going to where are they going? Don't know yet, right? And so let's be clear about this. They enter the transfer portal doesn't mean that they have to leave, right? They could come back and say, you know what, I tested the transfer portal thing. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, or blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the situation was as to whether or not this was a conversation that they had, but it seems odd on the Westry one, considering what had been happening on the social media and him having the conversation about he was ready for year two. Maybe he just meant year two in the NCAA. He didn't mean year two at Auburn. I don't know. I didn't actually go and read the article. I just saw some people talking about it, but very interesting to see how this is shaking out. Leanne says, I think it means KD is definitely coming back, which I told y'all his mama told me so. I don't know why KD would transfer. Um, I think he had been playing his best basketball down the stretch, and I think that he can see an expanded role next season. But I didn't see a reason why Chance Westry would transfer, right? Like, I don't, other than being upset with fans, I don't see why Wendell would transfer. I mean, he was second team All SEC last year. I think that he's still a great guard that can do some damage in this league. So, but listen, I'm done making predictions about who's staying and who's going at this point in time, because once I saw Chance Westry, I was like, okay, I don't know what to believe anymore. Um, Dave Metlock agrees with B. Will. Watch the film. You definitely need to watch the film. I got a lot of film to watch. Now, my offseason just got a lot more interesting with how many people we're going to have to bring in from the transfer portal. Going to have to try to figure out who these guys are and where they fit into all this stuff and what they've done in the past, if they've even had playing time. I don't even know what to expect coming up. Going to be a very interesting off season, and watch the film. Speaking of which, you guys need to make sure that you've got your memberships lined up, because as we get more information about these guys, we'll come on and we'll do a brief breakdown. But if you want to get the in-depth stuff, you got to be a member for that. It takes a little bit more time to prep that. So let's see. Leighton Callison says we would need 7 portal guys now if all stays the same. Quite a roster change over. Yeah, we don't. I mean, there's no new freshmen that you can bring in at this point in time. You're going to have somebody like decommit from somewhere. So there's a lot of work that's got to go into. Again, I just named all of the guys that could potentially not be on this roster for next season. To get that roster filled out with talent, it's going to take a lot of work coming up here. Um, let's see here. Going here to the chat. Um, Leanne says, "Don't you think if BP wanted them, the NIL would be there having questions?" So I guess I didn't see somebody saying something about NIL. I don't think NIL's the problem here, man. I just think that it's got to be a situation about how they want to be. It could be a thing, right? Like I'm not saying that they don't want to go to a school where NIL has been presented to them in a different way from what they're hearing from other guys. But I don't think Auburn has an NIL issue right now. I just think that we need to figure out what the look of this team is going to be going forward. And, specifically in the instance of Chance, if he was playing any point guard, he says he's hard on his point guards, right? Like he talked about that when he's talking about Trey Donaldson. If you saw the presser, this was post game for the Iowa game. I think post game he was talking about that, and or maybe it might have been the pregame for Houston, one of the two. Between the two games in the NCAA tournament, he's talking about how difficult he is or how hard he is on his point guards, and maybe that was just something Chance was like, you know what, man, I ain't really, this ain't how I want to be coached. So listen, it ain't for everybody for sure, but I definitely am interested to see what direction this is going to go. So we'll see how it happens. James Barnett's shaking my head. Was this a Bruce Pearl thing, or did these guys see the writing on the wall with the new guys coming in? I don't even know what new guys are coming in, right? Like next season, the only guy that we know is coming in is Aiden Holloway, and he doesn't play the same position as either of these two. So I don't know why that would impact their decision. I don't know if Bruce had a conversation with them about, hey, we've got the prospect of bringing in this kid from UNC and da 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 and this and that, and they were just like, okay, hey, listen, I don't know where my minutes go if you bring in all these people. So I mean, we're very early into the transfer portal window. A lot of guys are announcing over the last 24 to 48 hours, and I expect more to continue to announce. So we'll see where it goes. Philip Coleman jumps in. Didn't see this coming at all. Westry had a good shot next year for big impact. I'm just as shocked as you guys here about the Chance Westry thing. Haley jumps in and said, I hope BP got a heads up. I hope so too, man. I hope so. I hope that they had a conversation with him about what they were thinking, what they were feeling. He did say he was going to start having those conversations immediately with guys after they got done with Houston. He's like, hey, I'm going out and I'm going recruiting. We're going to hit the reset button, all that kind of stuff. And they were going to start having those conversations with people about whether or not they were, in the case of Jay Will, Alan Flanagan, the seniors on that team, whether or not they were going to use their COVID year and come back. And then what the transfer portal situation was going to be looking like for these other guys. They've had those conversations clearly. And as a result of those conversations, so far, two guys have decided I'm ready to move on to another team. And it's going to be interesting as well to kind of see how this plays out with the case of Jay Will and Alan Flanagan as far as their pro prospects or whether or not they're going to utilize that COVID year. They didn't seem against the idea post Houston, but that doesn't mean that they've made a decision, and we'll see probably very soon whether or not that they've decided to move on. Let's see who else. A lot of y'all in here commenting. I appreciate you guys jumping in. For sure, go ahead and share the live, get more people involved in here. I need to see, like, I'm gonna look at my phone. All right, so this is what I want. I'm gonna look at my phone here in 2 minutes. That's gonna be enough time for you guys to see this on the slight delay that the broadcast is on, and then do this. I want at least 5 people to have shared this live and tagged me on Twitter, so I know y'all are out here trying to get more people involved in the conversation. I'm gonna give 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes, and I'm gonna look at my phone and be like, "Oh, it's a bunch of tags on here. Y'all actually love me," because that's how you show me love. You show me love by clicking the thumbs up in the video, and then you show me love by sharing the video and telling other people to come in here and talk with us about this. So I need some love, people. I'm insecure about my ability to come out here and do this by myself, talking to myself. I'm just kidding. I'm not insecure, but I do love when you guys share the video. I do love when you like the video. So please do that. All right. So let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Greg Smith jumps in and says, War Eagle, I'm hurt. Chance is leaving. I am definitely hurt by that. I was a big Chance West. Listen, there are two guys who play for Auburn sports right now that I am a big fan of that have come to Auburn in the last year. Chance Westry was one of them, and Keontae Scott is the other. One of them is gone. That's not to say I don't love a lot of the other players. I'm just talking about guys who I can look at and say, man, I really like what they bring to the program and what they bring to the position. And I see a big future for them at Auburn. Just lost one of them guys. Hey, Keontae, man, if you watch him, bro, hey, don't go nowhere, man. Just for Ike Jones, me, please stay put, bro. Stay put. Let's make this thing work, man. Hit me up, man. You know how to get in touch with me. Holler at your boy. You know what I'm saying? Hit me on the DM, whatever we got to do, and we'll figure it out, man. I'll go talk to somebody. I ain't got no pull nowhere, but I'll figure it out. Chance, you should have hollered at me, man. You know what? I didn't advocate for you enough, Chance. I didn't come on here and I didn't pound my fist on the desk enough and talk about how Chance Westry was, well, man, I didn't do that enough. That's my bad. That's my bad. I got you next time. Next time, the next guy who I really feel like has a big future, I'm going to get on here. I'm going to talk big about him for Auburn basketball. And maybe they'll feel a little bit more love from me and they'll want to stay. Maybe, just maybe. I'm going to do my part, Auburn family, is all I'm saying to you. I'm going to do my part. And we're going to have to keep these guys in-house that we know are going to be fire for the squad. But hey, listen, definitely want to say best of luck to any of those both of those young men and whatever they decide to do next, wherever they decide to go, whether they're wearing an Auburn uniform or not. I do think that they have a tremendous amount of talent. Just sad that I won't get to see that in Neville Arena wearing the orange and blue. You understand me? Hey, don't go to no SEC team, no. Just do me that favor. Don't go to a SEC team. Because I don't want to have to play you like once or twice a year. I don't want to do that. That's gonna hurt my feelings. I'm sad right now, but it's gonna hurt my feelings if you go to a SEC team. All right. Can you at least do that for me? Anyway, all right. Y'all 2 minutes is up. All right. I'm finna check my Twitter. I'm gonna check my Twitter and see how many of y'all followed directions. Boom. 1, 2, 3. See, this why y'all my people right here, man. Y'all be doing me right, man. Appreciate y'all, man. I love that right there. Thank y'all so much, man. Thank y'all for going out there and sharing it and tagging your boy. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's continue the conversation. Gonna get more reactions from you guys. I'm not gonna be on here super long. I know y'all got work to do. I actually was in the middle of doing other stuff, spring break with the kid and all that kind of stuff, man. But hey, this is important. We got to come in here and talk about that. YouTube burner account jumps back in. KD would have to graduate though, right? Not necessarily. um I don't, man, how basketball transfer portal rules work. I don't even understand for real, man. Folks be jumping around so much with the basketball transfer portal. Um, but I think I don't even know. I'm gonna look into it, whether or not the graduate transfer situation has to be what it is, because there are guys that have played for 2 or 3 teams in their NCAA career already now. So I think interconference transfer that might be. I don't know. I don't know, man. Basketball is just, it's a free for all for real. So all right, let's see. Leanne jumps back in and says, have faith in BP and the NIL money. I definitely have faith. This is not a lack of faith. And I know you're not specifically talking to me. I know you're giving encouragement to the rest of the Auburn faithful right here in the comments section. Definitely have faith in Bruce Pearl and company and what they are going to do and go out and execute. It's just a lot of people, right? Like I think it's the sheer amount of people that we're going to have to replace. And I understand that the roster needed an overhaul and we needed to, but like, I ain't want that many people to have to come in and learn something new. Um, I don't know what they have as far as an off season. I think they're doing the invitational in Maui this year, if I'm not mistaken. But like, that's going to be crucial games for them to get their self together. That's why I say I wish that there was an Israel trip this year, because you have to figure out how to get those guys. Like, the earlier you get them in here and get them on campus and get them a part of your program and get them understanding what you want them to do, and then building that camaraderie with their players, with their fellow players, the better you're going to be, because that they have to gel right. In order to play defense the way that Bruce Pearl wants to, you have to be able to communicate really well. And in order for you to kind of accept the fact that you might not play more than 20, 25 minutes per game, and he's not going to ride you for 30 minutes if he doesn't have to. You gotta have to trust the guy behind you as well, right? So a lot of trust has to be built in order to play for Bruce Pearl and be effective in his system with the way that he wants you to play with intensity, because he doesn't want to play you high minutes. So you're going to have to give max effort for the time that you're out there. And then that trust factor of somebody else coming in. So I'm not going to take plays off, all that kind of thing. So it's important to be in here. Um, let's see here. We had T Moultrie jumps in and says, to be honest, Ike, this was a tournament team, but Coach Pearl worked miracles with this team just to get in. Wouldn't mind if we have 4 new starters. 4 new starters. I mean, again, it's a lot, man. 4 new starters is a lot to be successful. Because here's the thing: 4 new starters, but then where do you put those guys as far as, because there's a couple of things that I want to factor into this, right? Like, how much eligibility will those new guys have, right? Because you're going to have they've already got like 3 or 4 guys locked in for the next wave that are going to be coming in. So you have to have the right mix of eligibility and players to match with the guys that you've already got locked in, or you're going to lose commitments, right? Guys are already committed to your program, but if you bring the wrong player in that kind of usurps, because that's what happened to the Desi Seals situation, right? We had him locked in to come in and transfer. We ended up losing a commitment as a result of it. So there's a delicate balance that's got to happen out here with your scholarship available athletes. And when you look and talking about roster management moving forward. So 4 new starters, but if they have a lot of eligibility, that means the new guys that are coming in behind them are going to be like, I don't know where I'm going to get my minutes. These guys are still here. It's a lot to work out, man. So this is it's a very interesting situation we're in right now with Auburn basketball. Let's see here. I'll jump down a little bit. Jay Sykes 2413 says, last time we had a roster overhaul and not a reload, it worked great for us. Maybe this is a new opportunity. So listen, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Here's what I want. Here's my desire. My desire is that we start to figure out how to maintain success and build the program year over year, and not have to keep getting these flashes in the pan. Right? Like I love having the success, but I want to build a program with sustainability with guys who are here 2, maybe even 3 years. I understand the one and done thing with the stellar athlete is kind of it's in fashion, but as we're seeing in the era of the transfer portal and NIL, the teams that have, and this is not really new to college basketball, but it's kind of become more prolific across the sport, is that the teams that have been able to build teams with more talent that's seen game minutes, and they have, specifically in the backcourt, when you see those teams, those are the teams that are going further as we get into March, right? The teams that have been able to develop within a program and kind of get better. And then they get 1 or 2 pieces that take them over the top. When you're talking about an overhaul where you're like 6, 7 new pieces, that's a big thing, right? And so you're going to have Janai Broom coming back next year. You got to find the right pieces that want to be able to play within the system with him. There's a lot to figure out here, man. So Coach Bruce Pearl, again, and his staff have a lot that they need to get worked out here over the next couple of weeks. Really, I don't even want to say months. I really want to see some quick progress on this because of the continuity piece that you're going to have to build up with them getting in the same room together. Let's see here. James Barnett says a similar thing is about to happen with football, so don't be surprised. I just hope we don't lose key pieces to the team. Listen, I've been saying this for a while as regards to the football team, that transfers are going to happen with football. It's inevitable. There's just too many guys that are talented that are going to want to go somewhere and play immediately. It's not necessarily the same with basketball. It hurts a little bit more because singular pieces impact so much more with basketball, because listen, you're only going to play 10 guys at the most, right? You're only going to play 10 guys. And if you lose 6 of them, hear me, if you're only playing 10 guys at the most and you lose 6, that's a lot. You lose 6 guys in football, not the same math, right? 6 guys in basketball is a lot. So a lot of work to be done. Michael Carlisle, will be interesting to see how quickly we start signing players out of the portal. Definitely will be interesting to see that. Coach Anderson says, "Let the bidding wars begin." Hey man, you're gonna have to make the right pitches to guys. This is where you earn your recruiting dollars right here in the portal now, right? Like it's not just freshmen coming in and being impactful. You got to do it in the portal. Um, Haley says, "I hope we have better coming." Definitely with you on that right there. Let's see here. A lot of comments in here. I appreciate you guys jumping in here. Um, Leighton Callison jumps back in. Yep, veteran guard play in the tournament situations is crucial. Yes, it is. And this is why, I am in favor of, keeping the guards that we have, man. You need those veteran guards to be on your team to be able. Look, I understand you want the talent, but you need some people who've kind of been through the war. This is actually a good place for me to have my little quick thing about Caleb Love and why I actually think that he would be good for Auburn. Um, he is essentially, if we're talking about how he plays, he's essentially Wendell Green with 4 additional inches on him, right? Like he's not um necessarily a better player than what we have already. He's just got a little bit more height. And that's the big thing everybody's been screaming about. Oh, well, if Wendell was just a little bit taller, if you get Caleb Love, you essentially get Wendell with a little more height, right? So that should solve a lot of that issue. But the thing I like about him is he's been in those crucial moments that we have had a bunch of people screaming about Wendell's inability. He's been in those moments and he's made some big shots already. So he's got experience playing deep into the tournament. Went to a national championship game last season with North Carolina. He's played in the ACC, a league that is comparable, right? It's not as if he's going to be moving up from a mid-major or something like that. So he's played in against teams with athleticism. He has athleticism himself, and he's been in those big moments. I actually think that he'd be a good addition to the team. Now, especially now that Chance Westry's not here, because hear me out again, Chance Westry's not some 30+% three-point shooter. He's actually just kind of a good control guard. So he would be a good replacement for Chance Westry if he's not going to be on that roster next year because he's not quite as tall, but he plays big. He's got good athleticism and he can shoot over the top. And again, he's been in those big moments before. But anyway, we'll talk more about potential guys who could come onto the team. I'm not going to talk really a lot about potential guys. I just want to talk about guys that actually land here. But I am looking forward to seeing what the new version of the Auburn Tigers is going to be next year. All right, I'm about to get out of here, man. I appreciate you guys coming in and rocking with me for just a minute. We can listen. It's group therapy session. Hopefully, you got an ability right now to get some of that stuff out. We'll talk more about basketball as things start to come into form. We see who's going to be leaving and who's going to be coming in for the next season. But once again, you guys make sure that you like the video before you get out of here. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure that you hit us up on all of our social media. You see my social media down there, but we are the War Report on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TW Report on TikTok. I'm out of here until the next time. And as always, War Eagle, peace.